Greetings, beautiful people. Today, I'm going to be talking about the subject that honestly I have the most passion for in the entire world. And that is the topic of sex, guys. Today we're going to be talking about sex. And now when I talk sex, when I say the word sex, many of you out there might be thinking that I'm simply referring to sexual intercourse and the sex act itself. But the truth of the matter is, guys, that is just a really, really small part about what sex is. Okay, and this video is here to expand your mind as to the possibilities surrounding sexual energy. Because the truth of the matter is that sexual energy brought everything that you see before you into being, because it is the very energy of creation itself. And if you start to view sex in this way, then you get a brand new perspective on it. Okay, and it's so important for us to understand this. And unfortunately, the world has told us that sex is something dirty, and this has caused such a negative association with it that many people are relating to their sexuality in such a negative way, and it absolutely wreaks havoc in your life. You will never live a fulfilling life, or a life that is to its maximum potential, unless you understand your own sexuality, your own sexual energy, and you learn how to harness it to take your life to the next level. Because that is the creative energy that can fuel artistry, can fuel your confidence, can fuel business. Okay, there are so many different ways of applying, because it is such raw, unfiltered power. Okay, and myself, I used to have a massive problem with squandering this energy. I'm going to speak very candidly in this video. I don't know if YouTube is going to flag this video. I don't know. But I'm just going to speak straight from the heart here. I used to be a rampant porn addict. I'm talking about I used to watch porn 12 times a day. Yes, I used to masturbate like in the double digits. It was ridiculous, man. And when you're doing that, do you have any idea what that is doing to your dopamine system? When you are doing that, basically what you said to yourself, especially when you're watching porn, is that you've attained the highest goal that a human being can attain, and that is the furthering of your species, furthering of your bloodline. The truth of the matter is, you're just fooling your brain into thinking that it's reproducing. And this is a huge problem. Absolutely depletes you as a man, absolutely drains you. No pun intended. Just joking. Pun most certainly intended. So yeah, I was a rampant porn addict, guys, and it was only about 10 years ago that I finally started looking into what porn was doing to my brain and the misuse of my sexual energy, what it was doing to me, not just on a mental and brain chemistry level, but was what it was doing to me on a spiritual and energetic level. Okay, it has a tremendous impact, and I know many of you out there who are watching this may even be porn addicts as we speak, because it is just a rampant problem in our society. Porn is so easily available, and it can cause so many problems. So when I started to learn about sexual transmutation, which is the harnessing of the sexual energy, and learning that conserving this energy may actually be beneficial, my life started to change. But it has been 10 years since I've been practicing this, and I truly believe that I'm finally qualified enough to actually speak on this topic. Okay, you have two choices about what you're going to do with this energy. You can squander it, you can dissipate it through just mindless indulgence in sexual activity, whether with yourself or with partners, or you can harness this energy, much like a nuclear reactor. Okay, you can harness this energy and use it to power your life in so many different ways. However, we're going to talk about the difference between repression and expression. Okay, because it is very key to what I'm going to talk to you about right now. There's so many movements online, such as NoFap, which speak solely on repression, not expression. Okay, repression is dangerous. It can cause a lot of problems, and it's a topic all on its own. Okay, and in another video, I will tackle this topic. Okay, so with the sexual energy, we can really use it to increase our focus and our drive. We redirect all of that libido, especially in us men, okay? Because there's men out there, I know you're squandering your energy, guys, okay? And I will tell you this before I go any further. 95% of people are not practicing this. If you can start to master this, you will be in the top 5%. I would even go further, maybe top 3% of people in the world, okay? And maybe even less those who actually practice it successfully. So even if you've heard of this before, maybe you are not practicing successfully, and this is why you are watching me right now, because I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay, so yes, you can use it to increase your focus and drive. Sex drive, guys, is not simply our drive for sexual intercourse, but it's our drive to interact with the world. If you look into Sigmund Freud's writings on the libido, it will tell you the very same thing. Like, I know Sigmund Freud was thinking that everything was about sex. He was right. He was right to a certain extent, but there's also another side to it. And you need to know that many artists and many entrepreneurs have used sexual energy successfully to fuel their careers, okay? People in this bracket that come to mind are people like Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton was actually a lifelong virgin. I'm not advocating for lifelong virginity here. I'll carry on. Tesla was also a lifelong virgin. These guys were absolute geniuses. Newton, as you know, the father of modern physics. Tesla, an amazing inventor and creator in his own right. And another person, a sportsman, Mike Tyson, was reportedly celibate for 5 years before he won the title. And no doubt he harnessed all of that power to fuel his ability to absolutely decimate people in the ring. If you know anything about Mike Tyson, you know that it wasn't just that he was a good fighter. He had an intimidation factor to him. And I truly believe that the harnessing of this energy, as I said, much like a nuclear reactor, was the explosive force that he needed to when he walked into that ring. If you start to see his career and the downward trajectory of his career happened when he started to indulge in petty indulgences. Okay, so especially as a man, this is so important, and the reason why is because at its core, this sexual energy is, if we learn how to master it, we can really master our impulsiveness. Okay, for anybody, for every man out there, you know that once you start the process of getting sexually aroused, okay, it is very difficult to stop. Very difficult to stop, if most of you will admit that you struggle with it. And the reason being is because you have poor impulse control. You haven't mastered your sexual energy, guys. We should be able to stop on a dime. And you might be out there and it's like, but I get blue balls. Okay? Blue balls is actually not a physical. It's not a physical issue. It is an energetic issue. And the reason is because you don't know how to move your sexual energy throughout your body. Okay? If you follow this channel, you will start to learn these methods of moving sexual energy throughout your body. And it's wonderful because it is, you just feel so freaking in charge of yourself that it is wild. Okay? And this is why you want to start to work with this, because as I said, primordial energy. If you can learn to control your sexual energy, then you will have unbelievable control in the rest of your life. Okay, you will be able to honestly discipline yourself. Discipline, I hate the word discipline, but you are able to work with your energy instead of denying it, instead of repressing it, instead of falling prey to it, because the energy can also take hold of you and manipulate you and make you do things that you don't really want to do, like sleep with people you don't want to sleep with, or watch pornography. Whoever feels good after like jacking off to pornography, guys? Nobody. If you really want to admit it to yourself, nobody. Okay, you shouldn't feel ashamed about it. That's something I'll deal with in another video. Okay, so there are many ways of transmuting this. Okay, we have artistic potential, all forms of creativity, whether you are creating a business, whether you're creating a work of art, whether you are playing music, whether you're creating videos. I truly believe, okay, I'm tired. I'm so tired today, guys. I am really finished. But here I am creating yet another video, because I have this goal of releasing a YouTube video every single day. And I believe that partly this is part of the drive that I'm getting is partly due to the fact that this is what I'm doing. I'm practicing retaining my energy. Okay, I, for the first time in my entire life, am finally free of my porn addiction. Okay, and it's not how NoFap teaches you to do it. Instead of squandering this sexual energy, is we're going to consciously redirect it. Whenever we find ourselves like welling up with the sexual desire, okay, which most of the times never even gets shared with an actual woman, just gets dissipated through pornography and other forms of just mindless indulgence, okay? Instead of doing that, we are going to consciously direct it into the endeavors that we're trying to achieve. Do you want to learn how to draw? Use that sexual energy and put it into your art, okay? Learn. Don't try to run away from the feeling. A lot of us just want to get rid of it. Okay, instead of getting rid of it, we want to really feel it inside our bodies. Okay, and when we do that, we are able then to direct it. It's not by running away from the feeling and not trying to like ignore it. It's we really want to feel it in our bodies and then consciously redirect it. Very different to trying to ignore it. A lot of people out there will be like, do 10 push-ups to dissipate the feeling. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's repression. Okay, that's actually repression. Okay, and there's a very subtle difference. Now, the ways that you can redirect this energy, yes, exercise, doing things such as yoga, practicing things like qigong, amazing ways to help you just regulate your energy. But when you get to a certain level of transmutation, you can actually just sit there, do nothing at all, just feel it in your body, and the energy will recycle itself. What's actually a great breath work practice for this is imagining, this is called the microcosmic orbit, imagining as you breathe in, breathing the energy up the spine to your third eye, and exhaling the energy down the front of your body. This is an amazing practice just to circulate that sexual energy. And if you can't feel it at first, okay, just imagine it. The more you imagine it, the more you will actually be able to feel it. And it really, you should start to feel tingles after some time of doing it. Like what you're doing is you're actually focusing on blood flow and energy flow, and there's a real whole science behind it, which I'll go into in more detail later. Okay, so we're using that sexual desire as fuel for the fire. Imagine that, as I said, imagine it as a nuclear power plant. Okay, that fuel, we're going to use it. It can be really explosive and can be really powerful. We're going to put it into our work. Something else that is very, very useful is mindful masturbation. Okay, this is masturbation that it's a practice. It's basically like masturbation, meditation. And this is actually a Taoist practice. Okay. Using this practice, you can actually start to achieve things as a man, like multiple orgasms, full body orgasms. It's all about changing your perception of how, like, you need to actually separate ejaculation and orgasm. Okay, so what you're going to be doing in this practice is actually learning how to pleasure yourself in a manner that doesn't result in ejaculation. Okay, and if you practice it, you're not going to get blue balls. I know many of you out there think, yeah, I'm going to get blue balls, I'm going to get blue balls. You probably will the first time you try it. But there are certain techniques, as I said, the breathing, to circulate it, testicular massage, to dissipate some of that like stored up energy. And when you start to do this, again, you start to really deepen your impulse control, and you will start to see results in your everyday life that honestly you can't even imagine. Doing this practice requires so much discipline, guys. This is not for the faint of heart. I'm telling you right now, this is challenging. But if you work with me, if you understand this practice, it will absolutely, completely shift your existence like you've never seen before in your entire life. Okay? So that's my personal experience with it, man. I've gotten to a point where I'm able to engage in this practice, not get blue balls, use my sexual energy as a means to fuel my work, fuel the YouTube videos that I'm making today, for instance, and fuel my abilities and confidence when I'm interacting with people in the real world. It makes me much more attractive, I believe, because I'm not squandering, like, for example, the focus in my eyes. Okay, I don't know if anyone out there, you watch pornography, you dissipate your energy, and you mindlessly indulge in these things. What happens to your eyes? You start to not be able to look people in the eye. Okay, and let me tell you, once you start to practice this, your confidence, your eye contact will completely change, and it gets even more intense the more and more you go about it. Okay. So what am I advocating for here? I'm advocating for people to become more conscious of their sexual energy. Become more conscious of the fact that you cannot disown this part of yourself, guys. Okay, so many of you out there, you disown this part of yourself. When you feel the sexual energy, the sexual desire come up into your body, you are uncomfortable with it. Most of you out there are uncomfortable with the idea of pleasure. Okay, that's why most of you guys out there, you just want to finish. You don't even think about the process as enjoyable. Okay, tell me it isn't true, guys. I know, because I used to be one of them, and I think most guys, unfortunately, are. We can learn a lot about women in this respect. Women actually enjoy the process. Okay, women enjoy the process of sex. It isn't all about the conclusion. Okay, that's also what's beautiful about this practice. Okay, this practice taught me that it's not all about the conclusion. And not just in sex, everything in life. Okay, it taught me to enjoy the process. Okay, it taught me to be present in every single moment, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Okay, it may be a little bit abstract for you guys, but this is a metaphor for life. Okay? If you can start to enjoy every little level of it, every little level of stimulation, instead of just trying to shoot for the massive spike in dopamine, you will live a much more fulfilling existence. A much more fulfilling existence, guys. If there's one practice in my life that has changed it the most, it is this one. Okay, it took me a decade to figure this out. Like, figure it out properly. Okay, and I'm not even close to being at my full potential. Okay, because I'm just getting started here, guys. I'm just getting started. As I told you, I've only recently figured this out properly. Okay, and so I invite you to ask yourself, how are you using your sexual energy? How are you using your sexual energy? Are you squandering it? Are you literally like into a tissue paper as a guy? Are you squandering it? Or are you harnessing it and using it to fulfill your wildest dreams? Okay? To achieve everything you want to achieve and help and using it to help build a better life. Okay? Please, everyone in the comments, have you tried something like this? Have you ever tried semen retention? Have you ever tried working with your sexual energy in a different way? Let me know, like, how have your experiences been around communities like NoFap, the semen retention community, and yeah, just let me know in the comments. And also, I challenge you to start using your sexual energy in a different way. This is just the beginning, because I honestly can talk so much about this topic, and I apologize if honestly I've ranted a bit and it's been all over the place. I will learn how to talk about sexual energy in a more poignant way, okay? In a way that is just trying to erase some of the abstract nature. I'll be using metaphors to describe it, like real metaphors that will ground the ideas that I'm talking about. And in future videos, I will definitely be discussing very specific points. This was sort of a broad brushstroke describing all the different aspects of sexual energy, and I think I may have let my passion rule me today. I've gotten a little bit off topic and it's been a little bit less structured, but I do hope that at least some of what I've said today has piqued your interest, and I do hope in future videos to tell you a little bit more about my experiences, to hear a bit more about your experiences, and to demonstrate techniques that will completely change the way that you see life as you know it. It is going to be a wonderful journey, guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this video and hearing me rant, and I will see you next time on Valiant Lifestyle Design.